Welcome back to Savage Showdowns. This week we will again be returning to the battle arena. This week we will have our largest terrestrial showdown yet, with a Carcharodontosaurus facing off against two large bull African bush elephants. But if you like this content, please give it a like and consider subscribing. It's free and it really helps the channel out. First, let's look at our modern contenders, the African elephants. First up, size. African elephants can grow up to be 13.1 feet tall at the shoulder and weigh up to 14,000 pounds. This makes them the largest animal alive today. For comparison, this is about 3 to 4 times heavy as a 2024 Ford F-150 pickup truck. Strength. Elephants have incredible strength, which varies depending in location on their body. For example, an elephant can lift its body weight, again, roughly 14,000 pounds, and exert roughly 660 pounds of force with its trunk and carry up to 440 pounds with said trunk. They can also use their tusks to uproot trees or logs as well as flip cars. Speed. An African bush elephant can run up to 25 miles per hour. In addition, by leveraging their weight to whip their heads around, an elephant can effectively turn on a dime while stationary or moving at slow speeds. Stealth. Elephants are not particularly stealthy animals, relying more on their size than anything else to keep them safe. That said, there are several instances of elephants surprising people or other animals, so that they are not totally lacking in the stealth department. Weapons and armor. In terms of weapons, elephants have their sheer size. This size can be used to stomp down on opponents who are closer to the ground or who have fallen over, crushing them. In addition, they have their trunk, which can be used for both precision work as well as throwing objects such as sticks and rocks. Finally, they have their skulls and tusks, which are capable of ramming and impaling. A viewer of our channel suggested on a previous fight that we use a super tusker elephant for future fights to make it fair. And for those of you who don't know what a super tusker elephant is, as we did not prior to this comment, it is an elephant whose tusk weighs at least 100 pounds, usually nearly scraping the ground while walking. Otherwise, there are no differences between a super tusker elephant and another large bull elephant. For this fight, one of our two elephants will be a super tusker, while the other will have more normal or moderately sized tusks. For armor, elephants have their size, which carries a large amount of muscle to protect their vital organs. In addition, they have dense bones that can support the said size as well as protect them from incoming attacks. Finally, they have thick skin, which can lower the effectiveness of clawed or bladed attacks such as those from teeth, and this hide, while not impenetrable, simply can limit certain attacks. However, it is only about an inch thick at its thickest, and any weapon that goes deeper than that will damage muscles, bones, or organs. Finally, it's worth noting that elephants are highly intelligent and capable of complex social behaviors, allowing them to potentially work together in this fight. So, how does our prehistoric super predator Carcharodontosaurus stack up? First up, size. Carcharodontosaurus was a massive theropod believed to grow up to 45 feet long. Though a sizable amount of this would have been its tail. Its skull alone was 5.4 feet long, allowing for many teeth and a large bite area. It was roughly 12 feet tall at the hip and able to rear up to well over 14 feet tall. It weighed a startling 33,000 pounds, making it slightly heavier than our two elephants combined. Strength. Compared to similarly sized theropods, Carcharodontosaurus had a relatively weak bite force of only 3,000 psi. For comparison, a T-Rex has as much as 8,000 psi. In newtons, this roughly equates to 11,000 newtons in the front of the jaws and 25,500 in the back. In addition, due to its large size, it could likely both lift and throw several tons around with ease, assuming it could get a grip on them with its jaws. Speed. Speed of Carcharodontosaurus is debated, with estimates ranging from 20 to 28 miles per hour. However, for this fight, we will assume the latter was its top speed, but that it could only sustain such speeds briefly, as many predators today exhibit. Stealth. Carcharodontosaurus was likely somewhat stealthy due to its predatory nature, likely stalking close to prey before a burst of speed allowing it to close the distance, catch, and kill said prey. Finally, weapons and armor. For weapons, Carcharodontosaurus had 60 massive serrated triangular teeth, similar to a great white shark's teeth. In fact, its name literally means shark-toothed lizard. These teeth were roughly 6 to 8 inches long, and like shark teeth, were designed for biting, tearing, ripping, and causing bleeding, instead of crushing or grabbing. Other weapons included powerful forearms and 3 claws, which could be used to grab and subdue smaller prey, or potentially provide leverage while fighting bigger prey or other large predators. Finally, it had large crest on its head believed to be used for headbutting, though this is not confirmed. As far as armor goes, Carcharodontosaurus may have had small spines in its neck and back, but these will be irrelevant in this fight regardless, as the elephants don't really have a means to attack the Carcharodontosaurus from above. It also had large, strong bones to support its massive size and hunting/combat-oriented lifestyle. In addition, it likely also had thick skin to protect against the weapons of its prey, and this likely included scalation and maybe even some feathers. So these are our 2 contenders, but who wins? Is it the shark-toothed lizard or the 2 bull elephants? Let's find out. Our bull elephants are grazing, lazily munching on some grasses. Being 2 massive elephants, they have little concern. Nearby, the Carcharodontosaurus stalks closer, doing its best to remain quiet despite its massive size. It gets closer, and in a sudden burst of speed, charges at the elephants. One of the elephants manages to turn around to face the attacker. The other, the super tusker, is not quite quick enough, and gets bit on the back with the serrated teeth digging in and cutting at muscle before the dinosaur is forced back. The one elephant is bleeding, though not severely and not enough to put its life in danger. The Carcharodontosaurus circles, trying to find an opening, but the 2 bull elephants stand strong, a wall facing the dinosaur, circling as it circles. In addition, they begin to use their trunks to throw small stones and sticks at it, hoping to scare it off. However, this has little effect on the super predator. The Carcharodontosaurus, unsure of how to proceed, roars, lowering its head, and charges. The super tusker elephant sees this massive creature charging and attempts to move out of the way. The other elephant isn't as smart and decides to stand its ground. The 2 powerful beasts collide with a bone-crunching crash, and the elephant, for the first time in its adult life, finds itself heavily outclassed and is pushed back, likely also suffering a severe concussion. The Carcharodontosaurus doesn't waste this opportunity and bites into the stunned elephant before shaking its head, causing severe wounds to the elephant's face and neck, even tearing off part of its ear. The super tusker, however, charges in once it realizes its friend is stunned, and as it closes in, raises its head, slicing into the Carcharodontosaurus's leg and side with the tips of its tusk. The dinosaur reacts quickly, moving itself away from the injured elephant and the charging defender. The other elephant begins to come back to its senses and cries out in pain, but its fight-or-flight instincts take over and it stands tall with the super tusker despite its torn ear and blood running down its face. The elephants try their wall strategy again, but the injured elephant isn't moving as quickly as it was before. The Carcharodontosaurus takes advantage and gets a few small bites in, causing some cuts on the legs and side. As time progresses, the elephant begins to slow down even more. Eventually, it stumbles a little, and the Carcharodontosaurus charges the exposed side, grabbing onto the neck and shaking repeatedly. Blood flies everywhere as the 8-inch teeth find blood vessels and cut through them like a saw into the high-pressure hose. Blood sprays everywhere. The super tusker finally managed to get around its friend, and the Carcharodontosaurus backs off. The injured elephant falls to the ground, succumbing to the blood loss. The super tusker squares up with the Carcharodontosaurus, but its friend isn't able to defend itself as well. The dinosaur charges a few times, aiming for a bite to the side, but the elephant defends, using its massive tusks to keep the Carcharodontosaurus at bay. Eventually, the Carcharodontosaurus decides to try a head-on charge again. The super tusker saw what happened to its friend, but knows it would be difficult to dodge as it is the only target of this charge. As the dinosaur charges, the elephant charges back, and as the distance closes, it appears all over for the elephant. At the last moment, it swings its head upward and pierces into the Carcharodontosaurus's throat with one of its tusks. The dinosaur's forward momentum snaps the tusk off, leaving it embedded in its neck as it slams into the elephant with its full 33,000 pounds of body weight. The weight of the massive super predator causes the elephant to stumble back, stunned. However, the Carcharodontosaurus is on the ground, bleeding profusely from its neck. It cannot get the massive tusk out of its neck. Eventually it dies, choking to death on its own blood. The super tusker was able to kill the Carcharodontosaurus because its tusks were large enough to reach the predator's neck when it charged. An elephant with normal tusks would likely have suffered the same fate as our first elephant did, as it wouldn't have been able to reach the Carcharodontosaurus's vital organs, and we would have had a different victor. However, a super tusker was present thanks to a suggestion from a viewer of the channel, and this ultimately gave the elephants the edge they needed. Elephants win. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. Feel free to suggest any future fights. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next Savage Showdown.